Now, I often talk about brands that I think are fantastic, brands that you want to buy from, brands that have great quality products, offer a great value, and I try to keep it positive on this channel. But today, I want to talk about some brands that I will never buy from again. Hey everyone, I'm Dave with Beast Made Reviews, of course a channel dedicated to bringing you quality products that bring your life value. Now, I've seen this video idea float around the internet a little bit, and so I thought I'd throw my hat into the ring and bring you what I think are some brands that I will never buy from again. But in order to keep it a little bit more positive and also helpful, I'm going to list some companies that I think are great alternatives to some of these brands. Now, I say never, and I still want to keep an open mind on some of these companies at least. You never know what a company might do, but I think this is good food for thought, at least on the current landscape of these companies and what they offer now. Companies can change and opinions can change, but still, let's get to some of these companies I will never buy from again. But before we do that, if you like this type of content, feel free to subscribe down below. If you like anything fashion, EDC, anything cool, quality products, I think you really like it here. And if you're interested in any of these products, especially the alternatives, I'll have links down below, and those are affiliate links. Anytime you buy through those, they will help support the channel, and I always really appreciate it when you do that. Thank you so much. All right, first on the list here is Nisolo. I had to put this on the top of the list because this one probably hurts the deepest. Now, I've done a couple of videos that talked about Nisolo and actually recommended them, and at the time, my recommendation was because I thought they had great value shoes for a great price, they had a reasonable amount of quality, and they were also aiming to be a more ethical company. Now, it turned out that that's not the case, and I made a whole video, you can go and watch it up there. It's bad. They didn't treat their employees very fairly, they didn't pay companies for items they contracted out for supplies, and what's even worse is that they took the money from the consumers, their own customers, and they didn't provide the shoes that they were promised they would provide. Now, after I made my initial video on Nisolo, a PR company actually reached out to me on behalf of Nisolo's CEO, saying that they wanted to talk about a lot of inaccuracies that I had put in the video. Now, they didn't know this, but I had actually talked to a different company, a CEO of a different company, who actually worked with Nisolo, selling products and materials to Nisolo, and he told me himself that Nisolo hadn't paid him tens of thousands of dollars, maybe even more than that, on some products that they had made for Nisolo. All that to say, they're a very unethical company, in my opinion, and I will never buy from them again. I will also never recommend them again. But I do think there are great alternatives here, and one great alternative is Helm. They make boots and shoes. They're made in Brazil, I believe. I think the quality is actually even better. The price is pretty similar, I think, but a much better company. Definitely go and check out Helm instead. There are other companies that I could recommend as well, like maybe Thursday Boot Company. You could add them as another recommendation there. All right, next company that I'll never recommend again is Western Rise. Now, Western Rise is a company kind of basing their products on kind of commuter style clothing and accessories and different things like that. And I think that they actually make good products. It's just that my experience with Western Rise has been really soured by how they treated me personally. But a while back, I did a video on Western Rise and some of their products. I like their products. I'm actually wearing their shirt right now. I mean, I still like it. And that was supposed to be a sponsored video, but they just never paid me. Apparently there was something with bankruptcy or something. I guess they're not legally obligated to pay me in that case. I don't really know, but they contacted me again afterwards to try to do more videos with them. And I said, hey, I'll do this, but you have to pay me twice the amount. One to pay for this video and one to pay for the previous video. They didn't reply back. So in this case, I will never do anything with Western Rise again. But one company I think that is a great alternative to Western Rise is Proof. Proof is a company that's owned by Huckberry, another website that I really recommend, love them. Proof is a brand that is kind of based on activity and that kind of commuter style life. They have a very similar overlap in their product range, but I think Proof is actually a lot better and a lot bigger as well. They have a lot more variety in their line, tons of stuff there. Everything I've tried by Proof has been excellent. So great alternative there. Next brand I'll never buy from again is Moleskine. You've probably seen them at Target or a stationery store, bookstore, something like that. They're a little black notebook, just a paper notebook. And I think they're okay if you're gonna write with pencil or something like that, but their paper is notoriously bad for writing with fountain pens, which is what I like to write with, or anything that has a just wet flow. It's not going to write very well. I don't think they're made well. I don't like their paper. And I think there's a million other brands that are way better recommendations. Even some cheaper notebooks on Amazon have much better paper. But if you want just like the best paper, there's brands like Clairefontaine or Rhodia or Apica, Leuchtturm. Those are really great brands there. Rhodia is a little bit easier to find, so I usually recommend that. But Apica is really cool because it's a Japanese stationery brand and their paper is like glass. So try those brands. They make much better notebooks. Just the physical structure of them, how they're made, is a lot better than Moleskine, but the paper, infinitely better. All right, next brand I'll never buy from again is Dr. Squatch. Now, you've seen the advertisements a million times before. Dr. Squatch started making soaps, and then they expanded into other products. They have deodorants, they have shampoos, they have chapsticks, they have a bunch of stuff now. I've tried a lot of their soaps, I've tried a few of their deodorants, and everything I've tried from them has either been mid at most or really bad. And their soaps are really bad. I truly, really despise their soaps. They're really poorly made, and you're paying a lot of money for something that is supposedly good for you. It doesn't make your skin any better, it doesn't feel any better, and it just melts away in the shower. You don't get that many washes out of it at all. It does not last. I'm also really skeptical about companies that really advertise for the products themselves being really attractive to women. Like if you use this, you'll be suddenly just really attractive to women. I really hate that strategy because it's obviously false. And there's a few brands in this list that do that, and I hate it so much. Like, women do not care what brand of soap you use. But as alternatives to Dr. Squatch, there's two that I really recommend here. The first one is Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements, and that's probably my top tier choice here. They make incredible stuff, and their stuff is all natural. It's handmade in the USA, and they have a ton of products that I think are great. Great body soaps, great deodorants. They have great shave soaps, aftershaves. They have solid shampoos that are kind of like soap pucks, and you can lather up in your hair just like shampoo. Fantastic. All of the products that I've tried from Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements have been phenomenal. I really highly recommend them. Their scents are also fantastic, and they kind of specialize in classic masculine scents. But they also have a number of modern ones as well. One that I would definitely recommend is Bay Gum, which is a personal collaboration with me, But yeah, Bay Gum is fantastic. But there's other scents that I think you really like as well. Another brand that is a really great brand as an alternative is Duke Cannon. They kind of position themselves as being one of those brands that you see on store shelves, but that is a little bit higher quality than most of the brands out there. So definitely better than like Axe or Dr. Squatch. They work a lot with veterans and active military to test their products, and they have fantastic products. I really like their deodorants. I like their soaps. I like their shampoos. I use their hair pomade all the time. Love that. And their lip balm is some of the best I've ever tried. All right, next brand here is Manscaped. Now, Manscaped, you've heard of them before too. They're basically just one of those body hair trimmer type of companies, and I think they're okay. The only reason why I wouldn't recommend them, well, there's a couple of reasons. I think their product is just mediocre. I think it does the job, but every time I've used them, it doesn't really cut as well as you want it to. If you're wanting a trimmer, that is the one job that it should have. It should at least cut, and most of the time it just doesn't cut very well. I find myself going over and over certain areas because it missed certain hairs or didn't cut it. And they kind of make some of their products in a way that I think is more marketing than it actually is function. Like, for one thing, they talk about how they put a light on the actual trimmer, and that's supposed to be a feature of the trimmer. But I don't think there's any time when a light on a trimmer is that useful. There's no time when I'm cutting hairs in the dark. It's a useless feature. And again, they're one of those companies that really markets themselves as women will love when you use this, etc., etc. Stupid. They're not a bad company. They don't make a terrible product. There's just so many better alternatives. Speaking of, the best alternative to Manscaped is Brio. Brio makes the absolute best trimmers that I've ever used before. They come with two different types of blades. They come with a body blade that won't cut your skin, but they also come with a sharper blade for your beard and for your hair. The trimmer itself is fantastic. It comes with a lot of different attachments on there, so you get the perfect height that you want on your trimmer. Great LED readout. Of course, it's rechargeable. It's a perfect trimmer. I think this is a little bit more money than Manscaped, but in my personal opinion, I think this is way, way better. If you're looking for a great trimmer, either for your hair or for your body, this is it. All right, next brand here is Hanes, and specifically Hanes underwear. Now, I'm not a huge fan of Hanes in general. I think we've all had those Hanes t-shirts or Hanes underwear in the past. Especially growing up, that was just like the brand that you get, for me anyway. Hanes is one of those brands that makes really cheap products that are mass-produced that you could just get literally probably at the drugstore. We wear underwear every single day, so when I want underwear, I want something that is going to feel nice. Now, I haven't gone down a deep rabbit hole of this yet, but I know it's coming. So we'll get there, guys. But right now, two brands that I really like a lot are Mack Weldon and MeUndies. Mack Weldon has fantastic underwear that feels great. It breathes really well. They feel light on your body. They're not hot at all. Very comfortable. MeUndies is very similar, but with a different fabric. They use cotton modal fabric, which is super soft. Both of these have held up really well over years of use. So personally, those are my top choices for now. I know I'm going to go down this rabbit hole in a future episode, so just stay tuned for that. Next brands are kind of a couple of different coffee brands like Starbucks or Maxwell House or Folgers. I'll never buy from those brands again. I drink coffee every day, in the morning and in the afternoon. And it's not that I hate these coffee brands, it's just that there's other coffee brands out there that are so much better. For me, with coffee, I just want something that is the best. I really like high-end coffee. It just makes a big difference. There's a few brands that I really like for coffee. One is a local store here in town called Carpe Diem Tea and Coffee. But for online coffee, there's a couple of brands I really like. For one is Coffee Brothers. I think they have really excellent quality. They just have really great tasting coffee. Another one that I really like, you may have seen online on YouTube before, and that's Trade. Trade is kind of a subscription service that works with a lot of different coffee makers around the world. So it's kind of a way to kind of taste different coffee companies. That's a really cool service, and that's definitely something that I can really recommend. All right, next brand here is Tiege Hanley. Oh boy, I just personally think this is a product that is not needed for almost anyone. If you're not aware, Tiege Hanley has like a face routine for men. It's basically like a face wash and lotion in the morning and then in the afternoon. It's supposed to be really high quality for a decent price, which I think is still overpriced. And then they also say that it's supposed to keep you looking younger, which look at all the influencers who shill Tiege Hanley. They don't look that young anymore. And then if that strategy doesn't work on you, then they move to, oh, women love men who have skincare routines. Give me a break, dude. And whenever I was using a product, I felt like, why am I doing this? I'm washing my face in the morning and then immediately putting on lotion. And then I would wash my face at night and then put on a nighttime lotion. What are we doing? So Tiege Hanley is a no-go for me. I'll never buy from them again. But instead, I just recommend if you want to get a good face wash, just get something like CeraVe. This is a face wash that dermatologists recommend. I've had a dermatologist recommend this, okay? There's plenty of face washes you can just get at a drugstore, department store that are great for your skin. CeraVe is one of them. They also have a lotion if you really want that too. But do this. Just wash your face like you normally do. Don't buy a $50 a month subscription to wash your face. Just buy a face wash if you need to. All right, next brand here is Ray-Ban. Now, Ray-Ban, I think, makes some decent shades, but with all of the kind of Luxottica, foreign-made junk sunglasses brands out there, I'll never buy from Ray-Ban again. There's plenty of other sunglasses brands that I can really recommend. One of them is Randolph USA. Really love them. They make everything in Massachusetts. They look phenomenal. Those are usually my go-to sunglasses, especially when driving. Really love them. They have a squared-off aviator that I think looks phenomenal. Next brand is American Optical. They have really great shades as well. I believe they're all made in the USA if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong there. Their original aviator was taken to the moon. They have a different variety of shades that was worn by President John F. Kennedy, which those look really cool as well. They have a good bit of variety and they're really high quality. I think Shinzo Tamura out of Japan makes really excellent sunglasses. They're a little bit more modern, but you get really great optics. Love their sunglasses a lot. And Roka. Roka makes really great sunglasses too. I've only tried a couple from them, but love them. Really like their Falcon. I use that a lot. They're made in the USA, made really well, and I like those a lot too. So those are some sunglasses brands that I think are great alternatives. All right, next two brands here I'll mention together because I think guitar players out there will understand, I think, where I'm coming from, and that is Fender and Gibson. Now, I actually love Fender and Gibson, but I'm probably not going to buy from them again. I think there are better alternatives to both brands here. Let's start with Gibson. Gibson has some good products, but their main downside is that their quality control is really spotty. So it's kind of hard to find a good Gibson, and when you do find one, you feel like you found a diamond in the rough. I don't believe that finding a guitar, playing a guitar should be like that. I think that guitars should be good out of the box. Even though I love Les Pauls, I love 335s, I love SGs, I don't think that I'll ever buy them. I don't think that I'll ever get one. So alternative for those, easily PRS. That's probably my main alternative here. They have a great single cut. Their 594 series is fantastic. Their McCarty series is fantastic. Even their DGT, which takes some kind of cues from Gibson, I think is fantastic as well. PRS, I think, does it especially well because they nail the construction, the quality, everything is really dialed. Every time you get a PRS, it's exactly the same every single time. It is a little bit different in the way it sounds. I think it's better in the way that it feels and plays. To me, I think it's just a different flavor of that Gibson sound. I think there's other brands out there that are great as well. Heritage makes great Gibson alternatives. They look almost exactly the same, and they also have a big connection, especially because of their Kalamazoo factory in Michigan. Collings makes really great, excellent, high quality Gibson alternatives that look very similar, but those are a couple of great suggestions there. All right, now let's go to Fender. Now, Fender, I think, does have better quality than Gibson does most of the time. But Fender in recent years has gone down a really weird path in which they're making product after product after product, newer lines on newer lines after newer lines. You don't really know what you're getting at this point. There's like 17 different Strat lines, 59 different Tele lines, and then you have all these different variations in between. Now, thankfully, I think they do actually make good guitars. Sometimes I think their choice in pickups is kind of iffy. I don't always love what they put in these stock Fenders. It's not a huge change to change out the electronics, but it's something. You do have some variants with Fender to Fender to Fender, but it's not as bad as Gibson, thankfully. But as alternatives to Fender, I think there's definitely some suggestions out there that I think are better here. One is MJT Customs. MJT Customs, I think, has some of the best guitars out there, period. I got my Telecaster from them and I was floored. It is phenomenal. It is one of the best guitars I've ever played. It is just a joy to play. But to me, everything is just like a glove. Perfect in its sound, perfect in its playability. It's just a joy to play. I really want to get more MJT guitars. They are phenomenal. They have a lot of the kind of Fender shapes that you'd see, but they're just made really well. They kind of specialize in finishes, but they also make guitars as well. And I think if you like the Road Worn series or the Relic looking guitars, they have the absolute best that you can find. You can get them all the way from closet clean to almost nothing on it, all the way to looking like it was dragged by a car and run through a fire. Like, great guitars. And I think the last suggestion here, obviously, is PRS again. They're bringing out more guitars to kind of fill in the Fender gap now in recent years, and I think they've done a great job at that. Their Silver Sky, I think, sounds phenomenal. I really like that a lot. I haven't gotten a lot of time with the NF53 yet, but I really want to try it. And of course, my personal favorite guitar from PRS is their Swamp Ash Special, which is kind of a mix of Fender and Gibson elements there. And I think it makes both of them sound really good. So that is all I have today. What are some of the brands that you'll never buy from again? I would love to hear your thoughts on those. And if you disagree with any of my choices on my brands, let me know down below. I'd love to hear it. And again, if you're interested in any of these alternatives, I'll have links down below. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. I'm Dave with Beastmade Reviews.